A passport is a form of identification that allows you to travel to foreign countries. It's also a mini journal. It's full of blank pages for visas, arrival and departure stamps, and other travel documentation. But after a period of time, 10 years in the United States, they expire and you have to get a new one. So what should you do with the old one? Well, one idea is to use it as a scrapbook and collage in it. But maybe you don't have a passport. Maybe you had one, it expired and you got rid of it, or you've never had the need to get a passport, so you don't have one. No problem. I will show you a simple way you can make one. And if you stick around to the end, I will show you where you can download a simple passport for free, one that I made. I've got some plans for them that you might be interested in, but more about that later. First, let's scrapbook a passport. So I've had this project in mind for quite a while. I live in California with my family, but my spouse, his family is from Slovakia in Central Europe. When we had children, we got passports for them right away so that we could take them to Slovakia. And after 5 years, they expire, which is pretty quick. It feels like we're getting passports all the time. But I wanted to take an expired passport from my son and to include some pictures and things in it that would remind him years later about the places that he had been and traveled to. All right, so what do you need for this project? You need a passport, of course. If you have an old one, great, you can use that. If you don't have a passport, there are a couple of options. There are some notebooks that you can get that are passport size. This one is a Mars passport, which I have been doing some collages in a space theme, which is kind of fun. This is made by the Unemployed Philosophers Guild. They're little notebooks that you can buy either on their website or through Amazon. They have a Canadian passport, which you can get, and also a Pangea passport. I also found this one on Amazon. This is Authentic Pretend Passport. So it's just a little notebook with kind of buff colored pages in it. It's a little bit bigger than a normal passport, but that's totally fine too. I actually like this size a lot. So I will put the links for all of these things in the description so you can get them. And you can also make one. You can take ordinary copy paper, and if you fold it in half and fold it in half again, this is the perfect size for a passport. You can bind it together with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch or use a long arm stapler. That would work as well. If this is too big for you, cut it down to the size that you want, right? It's a pretty good size. I like this size. I think I would just trim it a tiny little bit, but you can make as many of these pages as you want and then just stack them up and bind them. What other supplies do you need? You need a glue stick or some kind of glue, you need scissors, and you need papers or photos, things to put in your passport. So how do you decide what to put in there? You can choose a destination based on if you've been there before and you want to collage with photos and images from somewhere that you've been before, or you can choose a destination that you've never been but always wanted to go to. In my case, I am going to say that I have always wanted to go to see the pyramids in Egypt. So that is going to be my destination, my goal destination to create some collages with in my passport. So where do you get the photos from? So there's a couple of choices. The first website I recommend is Flickr. Maybe you remember them. They've been around forever, I think since the 1990s. It's just a place where people upload photos. There's some information about if the photo is copyrighted or not. If you're not going to be selling the image, then it's totally fine to download it for your own personal use. There's another website called Pixabay. Gorgeous pictures. People, again, upload photos from destinations all over the world. If you download those photos, it gives you an option to donate to the photographer if you want. Now, if you look inside of a passport, you will notice that the pages are quite small. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking for photos. Another idea is there's this website called Shutterfly in the United States. It's where you can upload images to them and they will mail you the prints. One of the things that they have is this like collage sizes where you can choose up to 20 photos and then it goes on a large sheet, and when they mail that to you, then you would be able to cut them down. They'll be pretty tiny, the photos. That might be a really good way to upload a whole bunch of pictures or images and then receive it in a single sheet that you could cut out and use inside something like a passport. Now, if you don't want to do any of those things, here is another suggestion. Imagine that you are going to travel somewhere, like you're going to go to Egypt and the pyramids. How would you prepare? What would you do to prepare? You would probably think about getting a travel guide like this one. So you can find them at used book sales. Check your local library to see when is their next book sale. There's always a travel section in the used book sales. This one I bought on Amazon because I was looking, but I bought it used, and this one was extremely cheap. It costed more for the shipping than it did for the book itself. This was $2 and the shipping was $4. It's really cheap because this is an old version. This is 2001, reprinted in 2007. So it's out of date. And if I was going to travel to Egypt, I would be interested in the very latest edition. You don't want to have old material, old data, old information for a place that you're traveling. You want to have the most up to date. That's super important. So anyway, this is old. So I don't feel guilty about the fact that I'm going to tear it up and cut out pictures and illustrations. Now, these travel books are awesome. First of all, it's heavy, so the paper that they used is really good quality. It's also shiny. It's got this, kind of slick, glossy paper that they use. And the images and illustrations are gorgeous. It's full color, of course. It's full of designs and photos, right? And it has things like art, and it has history. There's such a variety of photos and illustrations in these travel books that are so useful for collage. All right, so I'm going to get to work cutting out a bunch of these illustrations and photos. All right, so I've got a bunch of stuff on my desk. I have started to cut out pieces, and one really cool thing that I noticed as I was cutting out pieces is that there are captions underneath, and it's nice to consider including the captions along with the photo so that you know more or less what you're looking at. For example, I saw this photo of this facade of a Cairo museum, and I really liked it. I was like, oh, you know what? If I was in Cairo, I would definitely want to stop in a museum. So that's really cool that I have the caption underneath of what that is. Otherwise, I cut out a bunch of decorative things. I have these little towers. I like the idea of having things that are vertical, and then there are things that are vertical and then things that are horizontal. So that's really cool. Some pieces I left big because I didn't know quite what I wanted to use yet. I also was looking through my washi tape. I started to get the idea of what would go along with some of these things. And I did not have a lot, but I have some decorative washi tape that might work, just kind of as background elements. And then I also have just some little mark making for rubber stamping, possibly even this rubber stamp as well. I went online and downloaded some hieroglyphics that I could cut out and use as backgrounds in some of my collages. I thought that would be fun as well. So I have some that are vertical and some that are horizontal, which is good. It's always good to have a variety. And that's about it. Now, for choosing my substrate, I was looking through this notebook and I like that the pages are a little bit yellowed already. That's kind of cool. And it's such a nice size and there's no lines in it, which is something that I always appreciate. I like when there's nothing on the pages, they're more or less blank. So I think I'm going to use this one. What I want to do is to work on a couple of spreads at one time. So I will do these 2 pages and I think I'm going to start right in the middle. I think that maybe I might devote the whole thing just to Egypt. It's a big country. So I thought I would, just leave it open to do that. So I am going to start with this spread right smack in the middle, and then as I go along, I can do another spread and another one, so on and so forth. There's not that many pages in here. I don't know what that says, 16? No, 24 pages. 24 pages, so 12 spreads. All right, so how do I do this? What do I do? I have some inks. I like these kind of sand earth colors, so that might be good. I might just start kind of decorating, embellishing backgrounds on some of these pages, perhaps. That might be a way to kind of break the page and start from the beginning. Let me see, what does this look like? This color, this desert sand, it's super light. I've used it before and it barely shows up. I think I have a sample right here. So that's what that looks like. And let me stamp on here and see how light is that. Super light. And actually that might be good because this rubber stamp is really busy. So let me do that. I'm going to do this in a couple of places. It's hardly even noticeable, which is kind of cool. I like that. So what else do I want to do? Okay. Okay, that's good for now. That's a start. Let me go back to this one. Now I think I want to take some of these hieroglyphics. I'm just going to use my ruler to tear some out. All right, I just took a couple of strips. I don't know what I'm going to be using yet, so it's just to play around with some things. I really like these vertical pieces. Those are just so cool. I just realized that my camera stopped recording. I don't even know when. When did it finish? Darn it. So here's how this one turned out, and then how this second one turned out. Okay, all right, so in that case, let me do one more collage just right here with the last pieces that I have. Let's see if I can put one more together. I really like this picture of the museum. Maybe I'll put that here, this here. Here is another decorative element. Maybe I could do it like this. I need some more color. Let's see. Maybe another piece of map. Look how pretty this is. It's so huge though. I don't know if any of these pieces would look good in here. Let's see. This is so cool. Even that little mosque tower is really cool. I'm going to start with this. I want something kind of big over here. So maybe it will just go like this. That's cool. And for something on this side, maybe I can use this. I will kind of cut this out, fussy cut it. I'll leave some of the white space so that it kind of stands in contrast. There we go. Now I do want, I think, a little bit more of the vertical. Maybe I'll just put one here on the side. Now, the last thing I want to look at is to see if I have enough of the background colors. Maybe I want to add something. So here are my colors. Do I want to add anything? You know what? There's this little bit of green. I'm wondering if I can add a green color. Probably those. Maybe this bamboo leaves. Maybe I can use this one again. So I could possibly do something up here. That's cool. And something down over here. Will that work? And then I had this over here. Yeah, I like that. I'm still playing with the placement. What I want is for this museum piece building to really be the focal point. So does it make more sense to put it here with this on the top or the other way around? I think I like it better like this. Like that. Maybe I will put, is it too late to put a few more of those little marks? What did I have? I had this one with, where's that rubber stamp? Where did I put it? Here, right in front of my face. Let me just add a few more of these. There. Okay. Okay, and then this one. With the placement, I'm not fussing too much about where things are. This is a very casual glue book, so I don't need to stress about all the fine details. All right, so let me show you what these pages look like. They're a little shiny depending on where the light hits it, so there's this one, and then there's this one. And lastly, there's this one. All right, so I mentioned a free printable for a passport that you can download and print and use as a glue book for collage. Let me explain what this is all about. So I have a membership called the Vintage and Collage Club. Maybe you've heard me talk about it a little bit in the past. It's closed at the moment, but it's opening in October, and we have a project that we're going to be doing for the next 2 months in October and November, where we're going to be taking an imaginary trip and taking our passports and collaging as we go along to these different places. So I'm preparing a bunch of printable materials that we can use for collage on this trip that we're going to be making. I'm also preparing these passports that I'm making available to everyone. So we are going to have a little bon voyage party. You are invited to come. We're going to be assembling these passports and getting ready for the trip, talking about where we're going, talking about the membership, how it works. So this is your invitation to come. And we are also going to have lots of prizes. Things like vintage ephemera and stamps, postage stamps, things like that. Things that I love to use in my collages and that I love to share with others. The event is Saturday, September 28th at 10 a.m. Pacific. You'll have to see what time that is in your time zone. In the description is the link to the invitation. When you click on that and sign up, you will get the downloadable printable for the passport, and you will also get the link for the live event, which will be held on YouTube. So I hope you will download your printable passport and join me on the 28th. If you don't have access to a printer, that's okay. Bring blank copy paper. I will show you how to make a very simple one and decorate the top pages. Please leave any questions you may have in the comments, and I will see you soon.